You're not gonna like go into someone's home and immediately be like, "Hey, I'm gonna take a dump in your bathroom."
Oh my God. Well, we should talk about that.
Master
Your
bathroom.
master bathroom. Yeah, never bypass the shared bathroom to go to the private ensuite bathroom in the primary bedroom.
Specifies.
Unless they tell you, I want you to go into
Hey,
my bathroom
I want
and take
you-
a huge
you to
old
dump.
poopy.
take a big dump. It would be my honor.
Why human do? I'm Terry,
I'm Jed.
and together we
human.
human.
I keep forgetting.
I know, right? Every single time we have to do it again. On this episode, we're going to be talking about how be good guests. I like how every time you're guessing what I'm going to say.
Genuinely, we
Every
talk
time.
about it before, and I'm like, what is it again?
It's like a game of mind meld. It's
Yes.
like, oh, what are we going to
Yeah.
say? How be
Yes.
good guests.
How be good
We're
guests.
talking about all those times that you go over to someone's place. You might be staying with them for the day, the night. You might only be there for a few hours. You might be not even at their place, maybe. Maybe you're just in a space that belongs to them, right?
I think this also extends to just being a +1.
Being a +1. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You're a guest when you're being brought along in a space that's not your own, but it's the person that's bringing you. It's their space. So they could be bringing you to a show of theirs, any number of things. And we're talking about what's all the like unwritten rules of etiquette that exist between the person who brings you and the person who gets brought along. You know, what is your obligation as a +1 to a wedding, let's say, as a +1 to anything, when you're staying at their house for a couple of days because you're visiting town and they're generously offered a bed to you. All of those things we can talk about.
Because the manner, the parameters of your interaction, the context will change depending on
Every single time.
what
And then
the
who you are
environment
to each other also.
100%.
We can also talk about how long are you even allowed to stay with someone, depending on your relationship, without becoming a burden. 12 minutes.
12. My time's almost up.
You got to get out of here. No, Jed, you're not a guest in this house.
I am a guest.
You are.
I will always. So, I mean, before we even get, I mean, we'll put a pin in this, but I am always a guest here, and I must abide
by the rules
I have to
of
abide by the
guesthood.
rules that I apply to myself. Even you're being generous. I'm like, no,
No.
I'm a guest.
Yes. It almost feels like you just belong here. You're just another piece of furniture that belongs in this place.
No one's ever referred to me as a piece of furniture.
Wow. What piece of furniture would you be if you were a
Oh
piece
man,
of furniture?
maybe an ottoman.
An ottoman. That's great. It's versatile.
Yeah.
You kick your feet up on it. Sometimes you have storage in it. Yeah. It's tufted.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
That was my go-to.
Yeah.
That was
that's
my
great.
first thought.
I
What
love
about
that.
you?
There was this I really love this chair. It was like, it wasn't even an Eames chair, but it was like one of those like mid-century modern chairs that my parents had, and it had like a reclining option, but it wasn't like a recliner. It was like, it looked like almost like an Eames chair. It had like, you know, like, it was like a metal frame, but it had like some, obviously some like upholstered leather, but, and it came with a matching footstool. I feel like I'd be that. It swiveled, it leaned.
Does it rock?
It didn't rock, but you can kind of like turn. It can do a full 360, which is always so fun. Okay, the crazy thing was when we had a cat as a kid, we used to put the cat. This is awful. We used to put the cat on the ottoman because the ottoman would spin too, and we would put the cat on it and just give it a big spin. And the cat would like grip on for dear life, and it would just like, we'd pick it up and then we'd kind of like stumble because it was all dizzy a little bit.
But the cat enjoyed it, right? It wasn't animal cruelty.
Yeah,
The
it was
cat
not animal cruelty.
hung
The
on
cat loved
because
it.
it was having
so
a good time.
having a great time. Speaking of good times, do we have any good times this week? Any awkward moments?
yeah.
And every episode we like to start off with just an awkward social interaction that made us feel weird inside.
Yes. So I have a friend who you've met.
Yes.
I
I don't know who it is, but
yes. I guess it doesn't matter who I say who it is.
Yeah.
But you've met him before, and I'm a part of his circle of friends.
Okay.
Or like
It's so interesting, right? When you're like, you don't ever cross over to my friend group, but I'm always inside your friend group.
Right. So I've been to many of things that he hosts and
Okay.
puts together. I went to see a movie with him and
Okay.
his friends.
What did
And
you see?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
At
A
Vidiots.
classic. Oh, I love
Great.
that.
Robert Zemeckis.
Oh, amazing. He's great. Director Back
Did
to
you
the
know
Future.
Bob Hoskins is British?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He plays such like a
New
gruff
York
American.
Guy. Yeah. No, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
But anyway,
okay,
movie's
so
great. Hold
yeah.
up. But so there's one mutual friend within the circle that I've run into many times.
That you know outside of the circle.
Well, I've only met him through the context of meeting him through that
this
mutual
circle.
through
But when you say mutual, then you're saying
mutual acquaintance, as we've established.
Acquaintance. But you don't have any other touch points to this person.
No.
Okay, so it's just this one group. Okay.
I've met this person several times.
Okay.
And I know who he is.
Okay.
Every time he sees me, he goes,
Yeah.
"We haven't met. My name is XYZ."
Oh my God.
The first couple of times I did, we did. We met at
Yeah. What do you do?
the first couple
You
times.
kind
I'm
of like give them a like social pass, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, no. You probably just don't remember. It was like we're busy, like whatever. Like,
yes.
And then after a few times.
This time around, I said, "Nice to meet you."
Oh yeah, you
I
just
just
have to
played
give
it
up
too.
on
I
it.
was
You
just
just
like,
have to give up on it.
We're meeting again.
There are people I've met several times who continuously introduce themselves to me. And look, I'm guilty of it too sometimes. Like, I'm not good with names and faces especially when I'm meeting them in a larger group context.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it goes over my head. I have to meet you in like a one-to-one person context where I like learn something about you that helps like you stick in my mind.
Yeah.
But if we meet like, say, like at a social gathering, like someone else's birthday party, it can be hard for me to remember. But I will argue that if you've met like 3 or 4 times, that's probably really bad.
It's kind of it becomes less forgivable.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know this person's brain.
I know. It's true.
I don't know this person's
Some people have
life.
face blindness.
Yeah.
They admit to it.
I'm not gonna take it personally.
Yeah.
At this point, it's just like, okay, this is what this dynamic is.
Yeah. Actually, really quick side tangent if you don't mind.
Yes.
It's very fast. This happened to me in high school. It was one of those like really awkward social moments where I was friends with someone who introduced me to her friend, and we had met in a social setting, and I met her boyfriend. I think they were on maybe like an improv team in high school together, like a long time ago. So I had met him in that context basically. And the second time we met, I did the thing where I was like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And he's like, "We've met before." I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah. We did it." And then, but then I was like, "Okay, no," but I made a point at that point to remember him. And because then he came to my house, I think one time for a party, like in my senior year, and I was like, "Oh," and he kind of joked about it. He's like, "Yeah, you didn't remember me," and I was like, "Yeah, no, I remember you now." Blah 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 blah, and we kind of laughed about it. But then I was out getting to my car one day, and I hear someone scream my name from a car just passing by, and I didn't have my like glasses on, and it was far away, and so I did the thing where I like squinted and looked, and I was like didn't recognize the person because I couldn't see the person. And he immediately was like, "Come on." I was just like, "No, I know who you are. I just couldn't see you."
That's so funny.
And then he immediately reported it back to my other friend who was like, "Come on, you got to," and she was like, "You got to remember him. Come on." I was like, "I did remember him. I couldn't see. He was literally as a drive-by." I was like, "I couldn't." That's all right. So that still haunts me in my dreams.
It's not your fault.
No.
That is very funny though. There was usually, if I'm like 70% sure I know a person's name, I still won't guess.
I know. Oh, totally. If I'm not 100% sure, and I've done it, said it before and never gotten called out on it, I will not.
I did it once where I was like, I'm 70% sure it's this. Called the guy by
70% is too low.
It was too low.
You have to be 95%.
I said
sure.
it with so much conviction, and then I was just like, fuck. Your name isn't. I'm so
sorry. Yeah. You're just like, ooh. That's the worst thing when you like misname someone in their presence, and you just have to like sit with it. Yeah. Because like, what do you do? What do you supposed? How do you claw your way back out of that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And if you're the recipient, like if it's me, I'm just gonna be like, yep.
Yeah. No, totally. I'm like, oh, you probably just like mistook me for someone else or whatever. One time someone did mistake me for our friend Will Choi, which we don't look alike at all. We're like, but we happened to be on the same improv team at the time, and it was a friend who we knew through that, not on our team, but like it was a partner of someone on our team. And so she like immediately like saw each other, and it's one of those situations where you like run into each other in the wild. So it's like you're already like racking your brain for like the context, because you're like, okay, I know this person. Where do I know them from? We don't see each other that much. You know that moment where you're just like, where you wouldn't recognize the person because the context is so different.
Yeah.
So I and she totally was like, she was like, oh my God, hey, Will. And I was like, I just like let it pass because I was like, okay, no, it's like fine. And then she corrected herself like 15 seconds later. She was like, I don't know why I called you Will. My brain was like, I just like, I didn't know. And she was very nice about it. But I was just like, I understood because that moment can happen to a lot of people.
It was graceful, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
She course corrected by herself. Someone once, we have another person on our team, Tony.
Yes.
And we're tall. We're both Filipino.
Yeah.
But someone was like, "Hey, you're Tony, right?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
"But you don't look alike."
We don't look alike, but
if you squint really hard and you're like 50 yards away, maybe.
Because I think, and this is more in the the comedy world, maybe, or like ensemble artists. Like you see a name, they're generally associated with
another name.
So you have because those guys are collective. So I can kind of see it.
I understand.
So I was like.
I also get it.
I was like close enough.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. It's not always easy to distinguish every member from an improv team.
Yeah.
And you sort of just remember the name of the improv team sometimes, and you're just like, oh, that group of people. You're in that
group of people.
Yeah, and then you kind of remember the first name that comes to mind that you know associated with that improv team. So I totally get that. Improv is for an art form where you're required to like remember names and scenes and stuff. Like we don't remember each other's names very well.
No, we don't need to.
Sorry, to go back to your
scripts are for.
I feel like we didn't allow you to finish your story.
No, that was basically the end of it.
Where you were just like, "Hey, nice to meet you."
Yeah, and I was like, "Hey, nice to meet you."
I agree that that's probably the socially like responsible thing to do, where you're just like, "Okay, we're just gonna do this. I'm gonna meet you at your level."
Yeah,
which is like honestly half of social graces are just meeting people where they're at.
That's high level communication skills.
Yeah,
if I can.
I would say so.
Myself.
I would argue yes, absolutely. I guess I have a story if I want.
Yes, please.
It kind of has to do with remembering names and things like that, and people that you've met in the periphery but never really like properly introduced yourself to or like spent enough time with that you can like we know each other but we don't really know each other. So I like was meeting some friends. They were having this like wine night at this house in Pasadena. It was like one of those like historic houses. It was like one of those like kind of like Frank Lloyd Wright craftsman-y style houses that you can like walk through on tours. But I guess every like Friday. Not every Friday, but like some Fridays and during the summer they do like wine tasting and like music.
Barnsdall?
It's kind of like Barnsdall. It's exactly like basically my friends were like, oh, have you ever done the Barnsdall one? And I was like, no, I've never done that one.
Park in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Also a house. Hollyhock House?
Hollyhock House, yes.
That's right. Okay.
Frank Lloyd Wright.
So yeah, basically it's a similar thing. This one was very like family focused, children, like lots of like babies. And so I was actually going to meet my friend's new baby who I had never met. He's like 4 months old now. Whoa. So it was like so I was like, I gotta go say hi. And
the baby didn't recognize
the baby didn't recognize
so
me.
Rude.
But it was funny. I was like, yes, I have to remember that. That's Luke is the baby's name. And
get doxxed.
Get doxxed. We're coming for you, Luke. Yeah, he's very, very cute. But there was another couple there with their baby. And I've met the woman. It's a friend of a friend, but we don't really like know each other. We've only ever like literally spoken passing, and we have like properly met, and we always like are like, hey, nice to see you. But we haven't like ever had like a one-to-one conversation. And this was sort of the first time that I'd met her. I think I'd like seen her kid in passing, like like literally in a party where like the kid was like passing by. This is the first time like I like sat with them, but it was like funny because like you go into that space and you're like, how when we like don't really know each other that well, but we do know that we know each other. It's always like, oh hey, there's always this like, hey, nice to see you, and then there's like never goes beyond that. But we're kind of just like sitting next to each other, and we've never really like even had a conversation, but like it's always kind of like I think the like bridge is always you start having a conversation that you open up to the group. Yeah. Where you're like, I'm talking to the friends that I do know, and I'm like trying to allow the conversation topic to be open to other people. Or like you gesture your body language, even you just open it up to everyone. You know how it is. Yeah. Or you do a big head nod when they added a comment. Yeah, like that. Yeah.
Because if I'm in your perspective and I'm talking to this person I don't know very well, I'm thinking, I've got a limit on how long I can sustain this before needing someone else to come
completely
in.
Yeah, we did have a little bit about friends and acquaintances about like when you get left with the acquaintance that your friend brought and you're just like, what do I talk about, what do we do? There were like a lot of nice little moments though. during this night where we could just like go off, like when someone was like, I'm going for, because each got like 3 tickets for drinks. It was like 3 wine tastings or whatever. And so everyone had to like continuously go back to get a refill or whatever. And so it was really nice to be able to like be like, oh, I'm going with you this time because I don't want to be left alone with people that I don't know. Or like, let's go for a tour of the house. You know, like all those things are really nice to be like, oh, let's go to the bathroom. It's like, I'll come with you. I'll go walk. I got to go do something.
I've gone to the bathroom so many times at different places when
God.
I didn't need to.
Oh, that's like such a move that I do when I literally don't know anyone, or I know one person and they're having a conversation with someone else. I'll just do the like, I'm going to the bathroom to wash my hands.
Cut to you and the marriage.
Yeah, I know. I like take my time. Yeah. I walk back through the hallway. I check my phone in the hallway. There is this like moment where it's just like, there's no one that I can talk to right now, so I'm just gonna stand in the hallway and check my phone for a little while, just because I don't have the courage to go back out there and like talk to someone that I don't know or don't want to talk to,
Yeah. There are some bars that I appreciate where there's just like a section that just kind of like faces outward from the rest of the bar, and sometimes if I just like I'm burned out socially,
like facing a window or something,
like face a window or like the street or whatever.
Totally.
I'll just kind of like go there
like
for
one of those
bit.
Like ledges with like at like bar height,
exactly,
and you're just like kind of like looking out and people watching.
Yeah,
that's always really nice.
And there's a part of me that's thinking, who's gonna sidle up?
I know who's gonna come up and talk to me, seeing that I'm all by myself.
No one does it because
I know, right? They're respecting the fact that you're alone.
Why don't people get the cue?
I know, right? There is this like really interesting like social like there's a way that some people are really good at socially like walking up to someone who's alone and knowing how to like make them feel at ease, especially if they don't like,
how you doing?
Yeah, you feeling good? You doing great? Yeah. Especially, I mean, you don't even have to be the person who's hosting the party or anything. I think some people are just really good at just making sure that people all feel. Yeah, your stomach wants to say something. It's done talking. Yeah, very few words. But there's like there's an art to being that person who can go around and like just like make someone feel like a little included, or like introduce someone to the other. I would say like, all right, so when we went to the a mutual friend was doing an opening of her factory, not warehouse.
Yes.
Yeah. And she was like, she's so socially adept. I was kind of like praising how socially adept she is. And I was there first before any of our friend group got there, so I didn't know anyone. And she like immediately was like, oh my God, let me introduce you to people. And she kind of did this thing where she introduced me to a group and then left. She was like, hey, this is Terry, and he does improv, and he's like knows Alfie, and then she kind of like did a quick introduction and then just left me because she had to go like she's talk to other people.
Busy being a host.
But it was very nice. She like did a very quick, very efficient introduction. Yeah. And not that I had more to say to anyone else, but like it was like it didn't feel weird that I was there.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I'm like, hi, thank you,
hey. Now I'm gonna exit.
Go to the corner.
I mean, there were definitely still moments later where I had to like awkwardly move around the space and just pretend like I was like checking out things and being like, oh, this is so cool. And then you finally came, or I think like one of our other friends came, and then I had like someone at least. I'm always waiting for you to come. I have someone to talk to.
Sorry. I think I woke up a little bit late. I was like, it'll be fine, right? Everyone's gonna be a little bit late.
Yeah, I just had to be early because I had to go to something else. But no, it was fine.
Great
it was
event.
Nice. It was so great. Yeah. Rooted Fair, check him out.
Check them out.
Yeah, we should.
We can plug them.
They
sell an amazing black sesame
spread.
Delicious.
And they
Free
just
plug.
opened a new warehouse where they're really growing. So
it's very exciting.
Support them. Okay, that feels good.
Yeah,
I mean, not terribly bad social interactions, but I guess social verdicts for each of us. What do we feel? How did we handle the situations? I'd say for you, yeah, that's right. After a couple times when you're reminding them that we know each other, you gotta just be like, oh, hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah. I am curious about the next one.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this person remembers you.
Yeah. And then
we'll have to get an update later.
Yeah, well. And then for you,
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't call. I mean, it's always like we're still easing in. I think it's like one of those things where it's like you're still living in an acquaintance zone. And you just got to keep it in an acquaintance zone until someone makes an offer of we're more than that.
I think there's something special if it's mutually understood.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like this is where
we're accepting.
We meet each other.
Yeah, absolutely. circle of cheers of friends.
Yeah.
And we're like in the same space even.
Yes.
All right, so we're getting back to our topic of conversation, which is how be good guests. And we're talking about what you need to do. What are your social obligations when you're being brought along as a guest, when you're staying at someone's house as a guest, when you're coming over for dinner as a guest? What are the things that you should be aware of, and what should you do to be a good guest?
I think the very first thing you check off.
Yeah.
Shoes, no shoes.
Shoes, no shoes. Okay, and my argument is, look, everyone has their own policy about shoes or no shoes in the house. I think it's very clear. When there's a party, it's pretty easy to tell whether there's a no shoes house because you literally see a pile of shoes at the front door. And then just take your shoes off. Don't ask. You don't need to be like, do I need my shoes off?
In that scenario
where you see
a lot,
a dozen shoes at the front door, take off your shoes and put them with the shoes. But I will argue for me, you are very kindly, and most of our Asian friends will always take their shoes off. But I don't really mind if you wear shoes in my house. It's not a huge deal for me. It's a little weirder when you start walking in my bedroom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like if you're living in the common space, I don't mind it so much because like a lot of times it can be like for me, I'm like, I don't want anyone to feel like uncomfortable or feel like they have to go through a hassle.
Don't look at my feet.
Right. Or that. Yeah, I know. Right. Some people have hang-ups about their feet. But beyond that, I'm like, oh, I want you to do whatever you want to do comfort wise. And this is I consider this my public space. So you can, and like, look, I'm happy to vacuum and mop my floors a little more frequently to make that happen. And if you want to take your shoes off too, cool, great. We'll do that. But if we're also, especially, okay, I will argue if we're doing anything that requires us to go inside, outside,
Keep the shoes on.
Keep the shoes on.
Yeah, be practical.
Because like you don't want to be like taking your untying your shoes every single time we go in and out. And so if you're having a barbecue where there's some indoor outdoor activity, I think the call is you gotta have
Keep your shoes on.
You gotta designate a space inside that is shoes okay, because it's too much, I think. Or
if you're helping move.
If you're helping people move. Oh my God. If you're helping people move, absolutely keep your shoes on because it's just practical and it's safe.
Yeah.
And at that point, like you just gotta, you're in a mode of
we're just gonna take the hit.
Yeah.
And deal with it all at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's like all these, it's funny because I think one thing that we can draw from just like the shoes is like there are all these invisible cues that your host gives you that will tell you how to behave. So the shoes thing is one, like, are they taking their shoes off? Another one is, I would say, volume of your voice level, which is different in different spaces, right? Like, I happen to have a freestanding home, so I don't have any shared walls, which, like we can be a little louder. Like if we do an improv set here, we can kind of yell as long as the windows aren't open. But in some places, like they have shared walls with neighbors, and you have to like come into that space and know not to be shouting,
Yeah. Sometimes the walls are so thin and you kind of just defer to the host's levels. If you feel like your host has room and space to be like, just have some boisterous laughter.
Yeah.
Then you're like, okay, that is the peak has been set.
Yes, completely. Yeah, you look for amplitude. You look for how high and how low, because also there's like too low too. There's also like I can't hear you. Yeah. You got to speak up in this space. And like sometimes it's like music's on, music's not on. Like there's always like that. Like are we allowed to play music at a like volume? Like how loud can we play that music? Just generally like how loud are we going to be? I think that's like a consideration to have. Also, and like time of day, like is it really late? Like
if it's
do they have kids?
No
like
matter what time, even if it's late, no matter how spacious it is, you're probably talking at a lower volume.
Oh, absolutely.
That's just kind of default.
That's just how you do it. You're always judging by how loud everything else is around you, right?
Right.
So like if you are playing music, like if your host is playing music, you do have to amp up your volume so that you can talk above the music. But that's something that you like gather from how your host is acting, right?
Let's see. Let's get in perspective of being a guest.
Yeah, like I would say like another thing that's like important is to know where you're allowed.
Yeah, you're
like
not gonna.
What spaces are you allowed in? Like you walk into a room, they greet you in the entryway, but it's connected to the living room, and I think I never move into a space until the host moves there. I kind of wait. I see where everyone else is. I kind of, if no one else is there, I follow the host to where they want me to go. And then I say like, oh, well, like maybe it's like we're setting up. And that'll oftentimes tell you if there's a party, right? Where we're allowed to be. Like, where are we setting up?
You're not going to like go into someone's home and immediately be like, hey, I'm going to take a dump in your bathroom.
Oh my God. Well, we should talk about that.
Master
Your
bathroom.
master bathroom. Yeah. Never bypass the shared bathroom to go to the private ensuite bathroom in the primary bedroom.
Specifies.
Unless they tell you, I want you to go into my bathroom
I want
and take
you-
a huge
I want you to
old
dump.
poopy.
take a big dump. It would be my honor.
Bathrooms, I think, are a really interesting dilemma too, because you're never sure. Bathrooms are sacred places, I think.
Yeah.
They're very private spaces.
It's where we worship.
It's where we have our altars to our gods and demons. But I think what's interesting is like, yeah, you never just go for the bathroom. You never explore the house to find the bathroom. You always say, hey, I gotta use the bathroom. Can I use the bathroom? And then I gotta tell you where to
Then
go.
your house will be like, sure.
Absolutely.
You go.
You go in this bucket outside.
Take this bucket.
Take this bucket.
Take your filth, Will.
Take your filth with you. But you got to always ask which bathroom to use.
Yeah.
And
something that often occurs to me when I'm using someone's bathroom is, do they have a hand towel or paper towel?
I was literally going to ask you this because sometimes I do love to wipe my hands on a big towel, but you can't. I gotta say, you gotta use the hand towel to dry your hands.
If they provide it.
If they provide it.
Some people
don't have it. Oh, do people have paper towels in their bathroom?
Some people.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Seems like a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
In the kitchen.
Yeah. I do think a mark of like adulthood is having a hand towel ready for drying your hands after you're washing them, especially for your guests. Because like when you're 22, you buy one towel and you use it for everything. But once you,
Yes, I'm 22.
you know, but once you get past a certain age, I think you do need to have like a couple hand towels for people.
Rotation.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna have guests over, because you don't want them using your towel that you use for your get out of the shower.
Is it so bad?
When
When I've showered already, I'm already clean.
That's true. No, I mean I agree. I agree that for the most part it's fine.
But it is your personal
I think there
towel.
is like a separation of just like this towel touched parts of my body.
Yeah, but my bum,
Clean body. Your clean body.
My body.
You're nicely.
No, but you're right.
soaked
It's
up
good to have
body.
the
Yeah.
separation.
I think as a guest, if there's a hand towel provided, you should not reach for the bigger towel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a rule.
Where it gets complicated though is like thinking about my mom, where she'll put decorative hand towels, like
Ooh,
seasonally,
just for decoration,
not,
not for
using.
use.
And I'm just like,
Wait, what do I do?
What do I
I mean, that's confusing though.
that's confusing.
Unless you put a note on top for decorative only, not for actual use.
Yeah, that really like, stylizes it.
Does she like fold them nicely? Are they folded in swans?
It's just like,
or
I think
where
it's
are
mostly
they?
around Christmas. It'll go where the hand towel rack is.
Extra confusing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's just my own personal
That's
household.
so funny.
But yeah, it's just like, no, that's for decoration.
I love that your mom decorates the bathroom for holidays.
Yeah, she
Does-
has seasonal
Stuff.
little hand
It's so
towels.
funny. Like once you run out of things to do in your life, you just like you got to decorate different spaces.
Seasonal.
Where else can I do? Does she also have like decorative soaps that are seasonal or decorative scents, or is it just the towels? Is that her expression?
Off the top of my head, just well, actually, she has several hand towels in the kitchen.
Oh,
One is for wiping surfaces.
okay.
One is for wiping
Ooh.
the ground. The other is for
I
drying
will
dishes.
say, I'm never sure. It's so confusing because I know someone who has towels that are, one is specifically for drying, one sponge is specifically for dishes, one sponge is for wiping the counter. I'm like, at that point, they're like all the same. It's like you can't have one to dry your hands, to dry dishes, to wipe down. I mean, look, if you have like if you have something that you need for wiping down counters or something like that, it's a little different from drying your hands. But you gotta have literally a different type of towel. Like it can't look exactly the same because that's too confusing. Yeah. You gotta have visual separation so that we can know. Because right, I know that like it's like dish soap versus hand soap.
Oh,
you got to be able to separate the two, right?
Yeah.
Because like I get that they have different functions and they are different formulas. Like one will dry your hands out more, but you got to be able to separate them out.
Yeah.
I think a PSA is
Pasa.
you got to have you got to have hand soap available at the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
You can't just have
Not
dish
just
soap and
dish
expect
soap.
your guests to use that to wash their hands.
Yeah.
Because that's not a hand soap.
Because I like washing my hands in the kitchen sink.
Yeah, all the time. I'm constantly washing my hands in the kitchen sink because it's like a big sink. It's like sometimes you're helping out, you're like cleaning stuff up. After you wipe down the counter, you want to wash your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's germs and stuff. So you gotta have a hand soap. Sorry, that's a PSA not to
Huzzah.
guests, but to hosts.
Hosts.
Hosts need to have a hand soap at the kitchen sink. So okay. Moving on to a slightly different, but like I think a big part of guesthood is I think we need to talk about the unwritten rules of staying at people's houses.
Yes. And
like multiple nights.
And that factors into what I was thinking of, which is like how much as a guest is okay for you to consume and take from your host.
Gotcha. Yeah. Like, okay, let's say like you're going to stay at your friend's house for like 2 nights, a reasonable amount of time. You're there you're coming in from out of town, so you don't have anywhere else to stay. You're pretty good friends with this person. They've offered to let you stay the night. They've even been like, hey, come stay. We want you to stay. Come stay these 2 nights. So you arrive like in the afternoon. You stay 1 night. You spend the day with them. You spend the next night. You're leaving early the next morning. So that's like for me, that's like a very proper amount of time to
reasonable.
stay. It's not too much of a burden. And this is in the event that your friend actually wants you to stay.
And it's the agreed upon time.
You've come in knowing this is the length of your stay, so you're not overstaying your welcome. But like there are some unwritten rules. Like I think one of the things we could talk about is like when you're getting up in the morning or going to bed, you got to go to bed or wake up when people in the house do. You can't be up and about.
Oh, sure.
When your hosts are already in bed or in their private spaces, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Unless they're like, hey, we're so tired, we want to go to bed. It's 10 p.m. Feel free to hang out in the living room and do your thing for the next like whatever reasonable amount of time.
You have to get the okay from the host.
Get the okay from the host. Otherwise, when your host is like, "Oh man, so tired, we're all going to bed." Everyone's going to bed.
Yeah.
We all enter our private spaces.
You'll be in your private space and you can stay awake there.
Yeah.
But you're
quarantined.
Yes, exactly.
You're quarantined to your private space with the door closed.
Yes.
You can put on your headphones, your earbuds.
Yeah.
You can listen to music.
Browse on
your phone.
Smallest
volume. Sure. As long as you can't hear it outside the door, you're totally cool to do that. Then I would argue in the morning, you don't make any noise in a public space until you start to hear other people making noise in that public space. I do argue that like you can get up, make yourself some coffee, because like, you know, as long as you're being like, there's some things that you like need early in the morning if you're waking up and you're like doing work, but you got to be quiet about it. You got to tiptoe through the public space. You got to not talk. You got to not make any noise. You do everything real silent. You shut the cabinet door. You like make sure it doesn't slam. Yeah. Any of that stuff, you're real quiet.
You're not clicking and clacking the dishes.
None of that stuff. You wait for anything loud.
Because if you're in an Airbnb situation or whatever, then there might be some people crashing on the couch.
That's true. Oh my God. Well, especially if you have people crashing in the public space.
Yeah.
You gotta be. You can sneak in, grab your coffee and leave, but nothing more than that. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll like, if I'm up early and like, let's say like another person's up, but we're both guests or we don't want to wake other people up, we'll go outside onto the porch or something like that. And that's like a nice way to talk, but not bug anyone. So yeah, I think like you gotta,
though, you're waiting for that cue of like the first sort of.
Yeah, you're waiting for that like,
clink.
You're listening to the volume level, like of things like when is it reaching a point where, it's okay to be normal, right?
And time of day also.
Of course. There's a reasonable point where it's like, it's 11 a.m.
Yeah.
Like there's no excuse that like you guys, you might want to sleep in, but like you have to accept.
You're going to accept
that the day has gotten started. I've read funny story. I don't know. And I do want a social verdict from you on this. Okay. So this was years and years ago, and I was staying with some friends at an Airbnb in Palm Springs, and I think I had gotten there a little bit after everyone else. There were a few couples. There were some people sharing rooms. I was given a couch.
Okay.
I was given a couch, so I had no private space. That's important. I this was like one of those vacations at Palm Springs where you're like mostly out at the pool drinking and like hanging out. And it was exceptionally hot, and people were in the pool at the moment that was happening. I think there was some barbecue happening outside. So the sliding glass doors were closed because the air conditioning was on inside. I was by myself on my bed, which was the couch. No one else was around. Everyone else was outside doing their thing. So I was sitting with my smartphone. Normally I wouldn't do this if there were anyone else around. I would have my headphones on, but no one else was in the house. I was by myself. I was watching an episode of a TV show at a normal volume. Like, I don't listen to things very loudly, and my phone can only go so loud. I was watching an episode of a TV show, and no one was around, and one of my friends comes in from outside, and like, maybe he's like gathering some food to bring back outside or something like that. And he at some point turns to me and makes a comment about my watching this TV show. He's like, hey, you just listening to that on, like, you're just like not using any headphones on that? And I was like, dude, I don't have a I don't
I'm
have
in
a
my room.
I don't have well,
Get
I'm
out of
in
my room.
Yes, it's the living room where everyone is, but this is my room right now.
And what time of day was this?
This was like 2 p.m.
That's fine.
I know, right? I came out of that situation being like, why was I being called out for this? I was like, no one was around. You literally were just passing. And then he made the comment and then just went outside.
Didn't even wait for your response.
No, not even that. I was like kind of like, oh, okay, I can put headphones on. And then he left. But I was like, you were just passing through.
Yeah.
You were passing through and you had to make a comment. I was like,
The person that gets the couch in this sort of setting should be allowed some like leniency.
I think so. I think when you're relegated to a public space for your private space, you're allowed a free pass.
Yeah,
to do something like that.
I've gotten the couch once, drawing straws or whatever.
Yeah.
And then everyone stayed up late watching movies. And where were the movies going on? Where the couch was.
In the living room.
So I kind of had to wait for people before I could go to bed.
That I think is like actually a very key thing. You have to be aware of when you're all sharing a house together and one person has to live, their sleeping quarters is the public space. You gotta be reasonable about how late you're staying up. You can't do that to someone. Or you gotta be like, hey, like if this goes late, you take the bed.
Yeah.
And the late people will take the couches.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's the proper thing to do. And you can't make that person ask you. Like the group can't allow the person who's sleeping on the couch to be the one to be like, hey guys, I'm really tired. Because then you force them to be like the bummer, the wet blanket at night, which they're not. They just want to go to bed. And if they had a private space, they could go to bed.
Yeah.
So PSA to everyone, when you relegate your friends to the public space to sleep, you better be aware when they want to go to bed. You better be checking in with them. You better be like, hey man, just want to check. Are you tired? Do you want to go to bed? So we can all bring this outside. We can bring this to another space. We can bring this to a bedroom.
And be careful that you're not unintentionally socially pressuring them.
Oh,
like, I know you're sleepy, but we were all thinking about watching this movie.
Playing this board game up until 3 a.m.
Yeah.
or whatever. So, don't enforce other people. We're all adults now. Like, don't enforce your personal preferences onto other people. Don't impose that on other people.
My ruling is in your favor.
Thank you.
That guy just came in. It's 2 p.m., first of all. It's common space. No one else is there.
No one else was there.
It's totally fine.
Right. Don't call someone out on that.
If you were in your bedroom doing the same thing, this guy's not going to go into your bedroom.
I know.
and
He's
be
not going to
like,
open the door and come in and be like,
oh, you're not going to handle?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So anyway, there's also like when you're all guests in a space, there is an obligation to be good guests to each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you're all sharing this space. But anyway, back to when you're staying literally with someone.
Yes. I want to go back
to
I want to go back to what I kind of pose, which is you're that person's guest. You probably ought to be conscious of how much you're consuming from your host.
Yes. Sorry, I totally.
No. I wanted to put that in there so we could pin it and go back to it.
Yes.
But yeah, like for example, I am your guest.
Yeah.
I am not gonna take more than 2 of your sparkling waters.
Right, totally. Yeah, you have to be like, am I allowed to go into your fridge? Am I allowed to grab things?
There's like a couple of hours, a few hours. I'm like every few hours I'm allotted a sparkling.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Totally. I think and it's also it's also you sort of have to like gauge how your host doles out their goods. Right. Sometimes they're like, take whatever you want in the fridge. Like literally, take whatever you want. They have plenty of drinks. They're constantly like giving you stuff. But then there are some people who are like, don't really refill their drinks that often, and you got to be aware, like, oh, there's like we're running low. Like, let me not do that. I can always have just like straight like flat water from the tap.
I
Like that's
love
fine. I love a
cold
flat
flat
water. I
water.
love a cold flat water. But yes, I would say like generally when I enter a space, especially at the beginning, I'm always waiting for like my guest, my host to tell me like, oh hey, we're like prepping food or we're eating food, like we're grabbing snacks, like have some, like want one, and I'll take, but I won't like go into their cupboards and like be like, unless
What
I'm
you got here? What you got?
unless I'm literally starving, in which case I'll be like, hey man, I'm hungry. Like, can we think about maybe like I can order some food or I can like, we can go grab something and then
And
like,
that's a gracious guest because you're not pressuring them to provide for you. You're just you're advocating for yourself and providing options.
I'd like to like always offer the option of I can bear the burden of grabbing the food. You know what I mean?
But as a host, you might have failed your guest.
Right. I know that's the other thing, right? We're not talking right now.
We're
We're
not
not talking about
we're
host.
talking
We're
about
not talking
hosting.
about being a good host.
Talking about being a
right
good
now, we're
guest.
talking about being a good guest. So we're not. We'll table that for another episode. We'll table hosting for another episode.
I'm thinking this is maybe more nuanced, but like body language when
Body
you're in
language.
someone's place. Like
Yes.
if I came into your place, I was like, "What's up, T?" And then I
Right.
spread eagled just on your couch.
Respect.
So-
Yeah, I know. Don't be like man spreading on people's stuff. There's no reason to.
Unless you have you have an established history
Right.
of being cool with.
Also,
each other.
don't manhandle their like their
stuff.
their stuff. Like people have like decorations out. Don't be grabbing. Don't grab for it. Don't be like, what's this? Where'd you get this?
Treat it like a museum.
Treat it like a museum. Yes. When you
Whoa.
enter someone's space,
Marge Simpson, very
yeah,
nice.
you can comment on things.
Mhm.
You can ask about the story,
Yeah.
but don't touch it.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know where. You don't know how delicate those things are, or whether their grandma who died last year gave it to them.
That's grandma's Marge
That's
Simpson.
grandma's Marge Simpson. My grandma was a big fan of The Simpsons. Yes, when you enter a space, kind of treat it like a museum. I think that's a really good policy.
Until
Until
the docent says,
feel free to touch. This is a touching
You may
exhibit.
touch.
You may touch. Yeah, I think that's true. I think like don't take anything that hasn't been okayed by the host. Don't enter spaces that haven't been okayed by the host. I'll even like do the thing where like my friends, if they're in their bedrooms, I'll stand at the doorway and talk to them.
"Oh, okay."
Until
Just in the middle of the night.
yeah. I just stand there watching them. I just watched Obsession, this new movie.
Oh yeah, it's
And
just on
no
the trailer.
spoilers or anything like that, but there is like a moment where one of the characters is standing in the middle of the night watching one of the other characters. It's really creepy.
Yeah.
That's not the case. No. When like when your like host like goes to their private space and
You
you're
need
like
to talk
following
to
them and you're
them.
talking to them, I will oftentimes pause at the doorway
yeah,
before
right.
being, until like I'm invited into their private space.
Because Terry's a vampire.
Because I'm a vampire, I have to be invited in. Unless they do, I start bleeding blood from my eye to my orifices. Like that's how it works. I like enter a space that I haven't been invited into. I'm just
I'll do it, but you should have.
yeah, don't let me. Who must invite me? I must be invited in.
Must be
invited in. So yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, most of the time, like I'm particularly thinking about like one friend in particular because I haven't like stayed. Besides, like at my siblings' places, like I haven't stayed overnight at like a friend's their place in a while. But the last time I did was actually we were up in San Francisco for Sketchfest, I think it was. And, I was actually staying at my brother's place, but my friend lives there and she was like, come stay with us. And I wanted to. I like really like wanted to hang out with her. She has 2 kids and one of them was young. At the time, she was maybe like less than a year old. And the other kid was like 2 and just wild. And he's a wild kid. He's great, but he's a wild kid. And it was funny. So they gave me a room to stay in. And it was great. They set me up. It was so nice and clean and I loved their place. And then I think their daughter was having like a particularly rough night and she was crying a lot. And I was sharing a wall with the baby and it wasn't that loud or anything. But the next morning, I know my friend was just like, I'm so sorry. Like, she's not normally like this. I like felt so bad. And I was like, oh no, it was fine. Like I heard it, but I was like, I was able to sleep mostly. But it is like, I think maybe the lesson for me is like, something goes wrong with the hosting, be gracious.
Yeah.
Just don't make a big deal
You
about
still have
it.
a place.
Like maybe it's not a perfect, like hotel level experience, but don't be the person who's like, hey, didn't like the softness of those sheets. Could you really get a 800 thread count instead?
Your water softener.
Yeah, I know, right? Your water's really soft. Because like the worst thing is like when a guest complains about something that they gave to you for free.
Oh my god!
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
that's like
you're
okay.
like, hey, I went out of my way. Like, don't like someone cooks you dinner.
Yeah.
You better pretend that's
Like
tasty.
it's
so good, so
so
yummy.
delicious.
Unless the host is like, sorry, this was not one of my
Sorry,
best.
and they'd be like,
And they'd be
okay,
like, no, it was great. It was,
Yeah.
it's like,
No,
thank
no,
you
it's
so
good,
much.
it's
Yeah, this was good. It's edible. You're gonna eat that. You
yeah,
eat it.
You're gonna. PSA to babies out there and toddlers, keep it down.
Keep it down. Keep it down.
But that does make me think, like, when you're you're staying over at someone's place.
Yeah.
Do you feel like compelled, like you have to reciprocate in some way?
Oh, absolutely.
Gift
Yeah,
them
yeah, yeah.
something or offer to cover. What
I usually
what
do a
would you
meal.
do?
I usually do a meal, or if I don't have the opportunity to, like, we don't end up going out. They end up cooking. We never have the opportunity to go out and buy something. What I'll do is afterwards, I'll send them a gift card.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I'll do
nice.
something like that. I'll be like, hey, you're so busy. Here's an Uber Eats card. Like, take yourself out.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't get a chance to buy you dinner. Let me buy you dinner now, or give you the option to buy dinner.
I'm strategizing about next month because we're going to New York.
Yeah.
I'm staying at my friend's place for
5 days is a long time.
It's a long time.
And as long as she's comfortable with it, I
Mhm.
think it's totally cool. But yes, for me, my recommendation, if
Yeah.
you want it,
yes,
I would
please.
start by bringing a little something when you first get there.
Little
Like
Portos.
Yeah, whatever
Will it
you want.
travel well?
Yeah, a little like anything. Just not an expensive thing, but a thoughtful thing. It could be like a baked good from here
Treats.
that you can't get in New York. It could be like a nice little like candle, like a candle, or like a bottle of olive oil or wine, whatever. Something that's just be like, hey, thank you so much for letting me
nice
stay.
little thing.
Then I think you do one meal out,
Yeah, definitely.
one or two, maybe even because it's 5 days.
Because 5 days.
5 days
I
is a
feel
long
like-
time.
Yes, for
It's
sure.
like, hey, let me grab your coffee. Let me grab you, or like you wake up early and you're like, let me grab you coffee.
Yeah, because this person is doing me
A huge favor, because like
solid.
when you're living in New York, you have very limited space, and it's expensive to stay in New York
Yes.
to get a hotel.
Even as a
So you're
guest.
saving a lot of money.
Yeah. So yeah, all that money that I would be saving
Yeah.
should some degree go to my host.
Yeah, I think so. I think like, yeah, you can allocate. You don't want to allocate obviously the full amount, but like you allocate like some nominal amount that feels like a gesture that's saying thank you so much for letting me stay here. And then my thing is just be a good guest, like we're talking about right now. Be a good guest. Make yourself quiet. You know what? Here's another thing. Clean up when no one asks you to clean up. Don't like get into people's like cupboards and like start taking out dishes and cleaning their shelves or whatever, or reorganizing. But like wipe down the counter, do the dishes.
Leave no trace.
Leave no trace. That's a great policy. Leave
You're-
no trace.
You're in a national park and a museum at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Yes, enter your friend's house like you've simultaneously entered a museum and a national park. Don't touch anything and don't leave anything behind. Make it seem like you were never there. Except ooh. Except in spirit.
Yes.
You want to transform the space in spirit
With your presence.
with your presence. Be a good guest. Yeah.
Be a good guest, be a
Bring
good
a little
guest.
something, like a little nominal something, and then make yourself scarce too sometimes. Like
Yeah,
don't
I think
stay
that's
in-
the other thing to get into.
when you're
is-
there for 5 days, you gotta be gone a good number of hours during the day.
And I think that's the adjustment is when you're spending time as a guest at someone's place, you're spending a longer duration than just like a hang, and then you have your segmented portion after where you go home and
Yes.
split off. So there's like a natural lull that can happen, and then you're like, okay. we
Be
can just
aware
kinda
of the
split off.
lulls too. Also be aware that like they have their lives to lead. Because like when you're hanging out with someone for like 4 hours, even let's say, they've allocated those 4 hours to you. And so
Right.
you guys are together. But when someone is allowing you to stay in their space, that doesn't mean they've allocated that entire week to spending the time with you. They have to do their job, go to work. If they work from home, they have to work. They have to do all their normal routine, go to the gym. Allow them that space.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to leave. Like you got to go out. You got to like give them their space back. I would say like if they go into work, you can hang out in their place while they're gone, but like check in with them during the day, be like, hey, I'm gonna go out, or like I want to make sure, like, what are your plans? Like, are you gonna go to the gym? Are you gonna go out to dinner with your friends, like that I'm not invited to? Like, or I'm planning on meeting up with some of my friends. Like, is that cool? Do you want to like come, or do you want to do your own thing? Like all those things. It's like allowing them their space to have their normal life.
Because some people recharge truly when they're
by themselves.
genuinely by themselves.
And you got to give them that space.
There's probably some degree of wanting to entertain your guest.
Yeah.
That takes a toll on you.
Totally. Like even when I stay with my sister, sometimes I like want to make sure that we usually do like oh, what do you want to do tomorrow? Like, but if she's like got meetings and stuff or doesn't want to hang out, I'll be like, oh, who can I hang out with during the day? Or I'm going out during the middle of the day. Cause like at night, like, you can't do anything about it. You're going to be staying there. You're going to be sleeping in those quarters and you can't really like exit yourself from that situation. And to some extent it doesn't really count because they're asleep. But like you want them to have like space to themselves when they're awake. So like try to like go make some plans. Even if it's plans with yourself, go to a museum for a couple hours when you know they're going to be home.
I have a question for you. As a host, I know we're talking about guests.
Yeah.
But some hosts are polite and won't call out their guests.
Oh.
In the past, have you had people over that did something that irked you that you didn't necessarily feel like calling out, but you clocked it?
Yes, of course. And I generally...
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Every time Jed comes over, he's doing something annoying. Man spreading everywhere, touching all of my stuff, leaving traces everywhere.
Grandma's Marge Simpson.
I know. What? That was my grandma's. Yes, people do things that annoy me. I always measure how annoying they are. And I never say anything, but sometimes I will do things that indicate that I don't like them. So if, say, I don't know, like, this isn't even like necessarily an example of something that annoys me, but like if, say, like people are leaving dishes everywhere or something like that, I'll start to like clean them up and put them in the sink. Mm-hmm. And so I won't say anything, but I'll be like, hey, this is what I do.
Gotcha.
Or, like there's always the moment where it's like, I'm tired and I want people to leave. I start to wrap things up, like that's always like, I mean, this is like a larger conversation on how to wrap up a conversation.
Right.
And end the night.
But it's also as a guest reading the cue from
absolutely.
Because it's a hard position to be in as a host.
Right.
Like, some of them are really good and be like, hey, guys, I gotta go. And
yeah,
they can play it off like
we're
it's
tired.
charming.
Yeah, I'm tired. It's time. Yeah. But if you see your host yawning a bunch of times, like it's time to start to excuse yourself out.
When that happens, I've got that host in my periphery.
Yeah, you're always looking. You're always looking for the cues. You're always like, you're also looking for the stories of like, hey, got an early call time tomorrow. Got to wake up early. Got to be into work early tomorrow. Got
pretty crazy.
Tomorrow.
So when I was watching this new episode of
yeah, I know. Right? Yeah, I know. It's always funny. Like some people just never take those cues, and like you're just like, oh, I'm gonna have to say something. There are points where like there are conversations with some certain people, some of my friends who just like never read the cues. I remember being in a particular conversation with a friend, and we weren't even in my space. We were just out, and I was like, it's getting late, and I kept being like, you start talking about like future plans. That helps indicate that you want to wrap up the night. So
the rest of the week?
What do you got doing? Yeah, what do you got going on tomorrow? What do you got going on the rest of the week? Yeah. Or you start having these wrap up conversations like, oh my God, what a fun night this has been.
I know. But you wanted to keep going.
You put it in the past, right?
Yes.
And then they don't pick it up, and then all of a sudden, then we're starting a new conversation. And you're just like, oh, we started a new one. I just have to be like, hey man, I'm just so tired.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna wrap up right now, but I'll see you. We'll hang out soon.
Because with some people, sometimes it's a losing game to find the lull.
Oh my God, because they keep it going.
Some people can keep going,
or the lull happens
and
they didn't proceed.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that's
when that
hard.
lull happens, you gotta grasp it and say,
and you gotta be like. Both of you got to grab the reins.
Yeah.
You can't, because look, the truth is you can only socially gracefully exit a situation if the other person is willing to allow you to do it. Because you can't be like, welp, and then the other person's like, yeah, let's keep hanging. Like, let me tell you another story. Like, there's no way to exit that situation without being like, hey, I'm leaving.
And that it's hard to walk that line if you don't want to come across as rude or abrupt.
Yeah.
But if you're the person talking someone's head off, try to be aware.
Yeah.
How do you teach that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. You also sometimes just have to know that that's your friend who's gonna need a real verbal cue to get out. Do we? So talking more about just like, let's like maybe like talk more or finalize our thoughts on like when you're staying at a place for a long period of time, like staying overnight. Are there any other like major social gaffes or social responsibilities that you have as a guest when you're staying multiple nights.
I think hygiene and privacy is like probably the big thing.
Yeah, I think like kitchen and bathroom spaces, you got to make sure you're leaving no trace. Be clean.
Yeah. You're going to shower. You're going to use your host's bathroom. Hopefully.
I think also like if there's one bathroom and it's a shared bathroom,
gotta be quick.
You got to be quick, but you also got to be like, hey, is it cool if I take a shower?
Yeah.
You got to be like, the bathroom's going to be occupied for the next half an hour.
If I'm the guest, I wait for my host to finish their business.
I think that's always important.
Then
that's
I can
true.
take my time.
Yeah, exactly. That's also true. You can wait for them to be done. But if there's only one bathroom, you got to be aware that you're occupying it. And then kitchen spaces too, I'm just like, at a minimum, put your dishes in the sink. Or, if they're starting to stack nearby because there's no room in the sink, stack them there. Or like load them in the dishwasher. You know what I mean?
Homeware. Is there appropriate homeware? Is this worth bringing up?
Yeah. Like if you're like staying overnight, what do you wear? Yeah, because you're not like, look, if you're a naked sleeper or even like an underwear sleeper, you can't be walking about the house.
Probably not.
In your underwear. You got to be clothed. And look, if you absolutely must sleep with your underwear, just your underwear or whatever, you do it at the very last second before you're getting into bed. And then when you're getting out of bed, you're putting those clothes right back on.
Don't let me see my own flesh.
No. Once you enter public spaces, you need to like be appropriately dressed. I think that's the thing. I don't think there's any like
hard rules
required. I think a good host allows you to feel comfortable in their space. But I think like respect as a good guest, like follow the lead.
Yeah.
A lot of it is like following the lead. Watch your hosts, see how they act, and try to meet them where they're at.
Try to meet them where they're at. There's some degree of discomfort you're taking on at the, not expense, but the trade-off is you're in company and someone is hosting you.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we can move on to when
beyond
the beyond the like home. What about plus ones? Like you're the guest of someone.
Yes.
In a space that you don't own as your own, that you are not primarily the first point of contact in the two people that are there, or that you are only connected to this space or this event through this one person. What are your responsibilities?
My mindset is when I'm a plus one, I am on, at least initially, my best behavior.
Yes.
And I'm going in with a mentality that I am being brought in as the plus one. I am to some degree a reflection of my friends' sensibilities and tastes.
Yes.
And
you better be amenable.
I'm trying to be amenable.
You better be somewhat entertaining, honestly.
Yeah.
I think one of the requirements also when you're a plus one of an event, especially a wedding, but other events also, you got to be there. You're being brought in for a bit of social greasing. Like you're there to make that person feel like they have someone else there. Because they're probably feeling like, oh, I don't want to have to like, yeah. You're either there because like everyone knows a plus one at a wedding is there because you want to have someone who you can hang out with during the wedding to occupy. Because you're like, you don't always know everyone there. There's that. There's also the other scenario where the person has a lot to do because they're a functional component of the event. They're a bridesmaid. They're a groomsman. They're there to perform a task, and you got to be ready and willing. You're kind of an assistant.
You got to be self-sufficient also.
You also have to be self-sufficient. So if they got to do stuff, you let them do it. You can't be like, I need to be beside you. But you got to be like, hey, can I hold your drink while you go over your note cards for the speech? Or you got to run. You got to move this thing. Let me help you move it. Because some people are like there to work, right? Like if you're like, sometimes you're at an event and they're literally putting on the event and you're there plus one.
And you don't want them to necessarily have to constantly worry about you.
Yes.
And your mood and your well-being and, if you're anxious.
I think being a good guest at an event is about being self-sufficient. Like you can't be, and I think we talk about this with my friends a lot, with all of our friends, about like new partners. Like you want to be able to integrate your new partners into a group and allow them to not have to worry about releasing them.
Right.
Like you want to be like, hey, you can have a conversation with anyone in this and I feel comfortable with that. You know what I mean? And so I think that's like a really important factor when it comes to being a good plus one, being a good guest.
Try to hit it off with at least a couple people that you're not as familiar with, so that you can kind of.
And if you have, and in some ways I would argue that like when you're in someone else's space and you have a friend there, you have a little more social permission to be a little bit more socially forward.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can be like, hey, what's up? How's it going? I don't know anyone here because like my friend's the only one here. And let's like have that conversation. And like, that's your duty, I would argue.
And you can indulge in your inquisitiveness.
Yeah.
You have more permission.
More
to do
permission
so than before. So like, how do you all know each other?
Exactly. You can always start with that. Like, how do you know people here? How are you connected to the bridegroom, grooms, brides?
And listen when they're actually telling you.
Oh my
because
God.
they're giving you more talking points.
That's the one thing, right? Like if you're going to be a good guest and a good conversationalist in general, you got to be a good listener. You got to pick up on details.
What?
Good listener. You got to be a good listener. Oh, yeah.
It's an example of a
Wow.
bad
Look at
listener.
that.
I
Didn't
got
listen.
you.
In the moment, didn't even hear me. Yes, be a good listener. Pick up on points that you can then later use, not as like fodder, but like because you want to like keep the conversation rolling. Like listen for every opportunity to build on someone else's story. Ask them a question. Go off on a tangent. Go off on a little side quest.
And it's a fine line to walk, but I think people generally appreciate a little self-disclosure.
Oh my God, yes. Be willing to be a little vulnerable.
Walk that line.
Yeah. But do not dump. Do not trauma dump.
Don't trauma dump.
PSA.
Pasa.
Do not trauma dump. Trauma dumped. Trauma dump. That's hard to say. It's funny. I heard this in the context of pitching. So like, I was listening to someone talk about and not pitching necessarily, but doing, sorry, stupid industry term, but generals. When you're talking about yourself, they oftentimes will ask you like, give me your spiel. When you're pitching yourself, the lady was like, it's okay to talk about something that was traumatizing in your life, but if that trauma is still active, do not talk about it. Mm-hmm. And that I think is the delineation between when you can talk about something that's really vulnerable and traumatic in your life. You have to have processed it yourself because you can't be like, because when you're bringing up something that's traumatic to you in real time, you're putting an obligation on the person you're talking to, are you okay?
Yeah.
Oh my God, are you fine?
And that gets into emotional manipulation.
That's emotional manipulation. It's not fun. It's just not a good topic of conversation. You have to move past.
You need to be secure about the things that you're talking about.
Yes.
And I get it. Sometimes you feel insecure in a scenario and you kind of you're like treading water and you want to throw something out there.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Be careful. Be
cautious.
Because people can sense when you're not okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. It made me think of an example, but I lost it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think good guest behavior when you're in another space is just about knowing your role a little bit, going into it, knowing your role. Like, what am I here for? Mm-hmm. Like, why am I here? Am I here to pad out the party? Am I here to be your companion? Am I here to help you? Like, literally help you functionally in your role?
Because sometimes a host will invite you as a plus one, either for their own benefit, like, hey, I could really use you, or your help, your presence.
Yeah.
Or it's like, hey, I think this might be fun for you to do.
Yeah.
So it's still
right
for you.
Because there are moments where, like, I think about, like, sometimes through the Writers Guild, there's, like, events or, like, showings, like, movie showings. And sometimes I'll be like, hey, do you want to come? I think you would like this or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's not necessarily me being like, I need a plus one because I will feel awkward. Because it's just one of those, like, it's literally you're going to sit down and watch a movie. Or you'll go and hear a Q&A or something like that. So there's no, like, awkward socialness around it. But it's literally one thing where it's like, hey, this could be a cool thing that, like, like not everyone has access to. Like, come to it if you want to. And I think in that case, like, the onus is on the guest to be, like, a good guest, right?
When you're going to meet your host or friend at an event, and this is something that I, unfortunately, fall victim to, be on time.
Be on time.
Be early.
To an event, be early. On time is early. Because these are presumably events that people put a lot of planning into. It's not a casual get-together. It's not like, hey, we're impromptu having this dinner. Come by whenever. Or even like we're having dinner and like, arrive at different intervals so that like the host might be ready or not. This is like, we scheduled this wedding a year in advance. Like the ceremony starts at this time. Like
or the play starts
at this time. Like, don't be late. And speaking of plays, plus ones to somebody's event, like their play, their improv show.
Oh, you're watching
You're watching
their
them.
show.
I think like enjoy it, even if you don't enjoy it.
I think this does. I think the.
It's hard because we're both performers and we like know the feeling, and we're also like we understand that sometimes the show doesn't go well, and you want to be real about it.
I do enter a more gracious space when I'm watching my friends' shows because
be generous.
I'm genuinely I think my critical brain is to some degree active generally.
Yeah.
But truly I'm excited to see my friend perform or on stage.
Yeah.
And whenever they do something that I'm always looking for things like in a positive lens.
Yeah, completely.
It's very easy to focus on the negatives, and we
Go in wanting to
we
like
already
something,
do that
right?
for ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Something.
I think it's like going in without a critical lens, you know, like go in with like this is my friend, they invited me, they're excited, like let me be excited too. And then so much of it is just like withholding what you didn't like. You don't gotta talk. You don't have to talk about it. You can always just talk about the things that were good.
What if your friend or your host does terribly, objectively so?
Yeah.
What's your approach to them as a guest? You don't necessarily want to correct their behavior, but I don't know if you want to like outright be like, yeah, it was freaking bad. Although that can be kind of like, oh, finally someone's being honest with me. It's a hard line.
I wait for them to acknowledge it themselves. Like you can't be the first person to acknowledge it.
What a stinker, huh?
Right. It's like the person comes out and they know things didn't go well, and they're like, "Hey, sorry, man, things were just like a mess tonight. Like not every show is great." And like they have to also be okay with that. You also, again, like talking about like immediate trauma, they have to be in a space where they're actually okay with bombing. And that comes with repetition. That comes with a lot of time and experience. But not everyone's ready for that. Sometimes they come out and they're like, God, that was a bad show. I feel so bad. And then you have to placate. Then you have to placate. Then you have to be like, no, my God, no, there was a lot of good stuff in there. Like, it wasn't bad. Don't think about it like that. Like, you know, but that has to be only when like when they haven't been able to move past it themselves.
Yeah. That is one of the things that can happen as a guest.
Yeah.
And it is at your expense.
Yeah.
But that's what a good guest does.
A good guest does. A good guest is taking care of certain things. It includes like logistical things sometimes. It includes functional things. It includes emotional things. It includes social things. There's a lot that a good guest can like bring to the table. And like, sort of like I said before, it's about knowing what role you're primarily occupying in that space.
I had a thought about if you're a +1 to something you're not familiar with. Say someone's like, hey, I know you don't know much about baseball.
Or this concert. You don't even like this.
You don't know this band at all. Do you want to come?
Yeah. I'm always, when I go to, I think the most, that sporting events, because I'm not a big sports person. I go and I just enjoy whatever I can about it. So I'm like, if we're going to a baseball game, I'm having a beer and a hot dog, or I'm getting some peanuts. I'm walking around. I'm looking at people. I'm like, this is fun. I'm getting in, but I'm not enjoying the game necessarily. I'm enjoying because again,
the atmosphere.
Everything is just an excuse to hang out, right? That's all I see anymore.
For me, if my friend is enthusiastic, then I'll be asking about the mechanics of the game.
Yeah.
Or like what's happening here? What's the strategy?
So what's the deal?
What do you like?
I know,
about
right?
this?
I always talk about that. Like, I'm like, is this one of your? If I don't know the artist, I'm like, is this one of your favorite songs? Like, tell me more about the band. When did you listen to this first? Tell me more about your experience or your nostalgia with this band. That's always like fun to explore.
I just had a memory flash where like someone introduced me to a band and they're playing live, and I didn't know the band at all, and there was a moment where they were just like fully enjoying.
Oh yeah,
just fully immersed in the song, and I was like, this is so lovely that they're sharing it with me.
Yeah, it's so nice to be brought into something that someone really loves.
Yeah, someone's sharing something that they love with you, and as a guest, you gotta love it.
You do. No, but you gotta love their love of it.
Exactly.
You gotta look at that person and be like, God, I love that you love this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's very scary to love things.
It is scary. It's way more scary to love something than it is to hate something.
Oh, it's so easy.
It's so easy. Everyone can hate something.
I'm a certified
Everyone can hate on
hater.
it. And listen, I have been known by many to hate many things or not like a lot of things, but I do like a lot of things. But it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable when you like something, and it's vulnerable to express that you really like something, because then someone can be like, "You like that?
Oh man,
You like that?"
That's enough to like clam someone up. They'll never share with you.
Don't
again.
be a good guest. Also, don't do that.
Don't
do that to anyone.
If their like or interest or hobby or passion isn't harming anybody,
Don't. Yeah.
let them
Let them live.
Don't yuck the yum.
Don't yuck
as
the
they
yum,
say.
as the youth say.
Passa.
Passa. Don't yuck the
Don't
yum.
yuck the yum.
You've been invited. Your friend is putting on an event,
Mm-hmm.
and they invited you because they have a +1, yes, and it's a fun event, but they're gonna be working most of the time. What's your social obligation?
The most of the pressure is on the guest.
Most of the pressure's on the guest.
Because your friend is the host and they need people.
Yeah.
And you are being as amenable as possible and supportive.
Yes. Great. Okay, here's one. Here's a funny one. You were not on the original invite list of a wedding, but a couple people dropped out last minute and they still had to fill, they had a minimum guest requirement. You got invited.
The pressure's on the host.
Yeah.
You're here to fill a body.
You're here to fill a body.
To indulge
I
in
think
some food.
Your obligation is to eat and dance.
Yes, and not be a nuisance. Just fill the event with your body.
Exactly. Be a good extra. Be a good background. Be a good background player.
Yes.
Oh, here's one. Hasn't happened to me personally, but my sister got invited by her best friend to a trip to Hawaii.
Whoa.
Yeah. So every year, I guess I'm friends with too, her friend. She basically, if they meet their sales targets, they always do this like big, like company wide. You meet your sales target, you get to go to this 5-star vacation, and you get two tickets. And so I think my sister has gotten invited once before to another one. They're like best friends, and she's getting invited this year too. What's the responsibility? What
responsibilities on the guest?
It's a big deal, right?
It's a huge deal.
You gotta be so much fun.
Yeah, I mean,
you're sharing a room too, also.
Okay,
a hotel room.
Yeah,
but it's like a resort,
and this is on their company's expense.
Yeah, so the other person's not paying necessarily, but
still,
that's a big offer. Yeah, they're because I would argue that the value of that gift is high.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're socially harmonious.
Yes,
guest.
Yeah.
You are game for anything.
For anything.
You're
any
there
excursion.
On their terms.
You're going on that banana boat.
Yeah, I love
you're going
banana
kite
boat.
surfing. And if you're not, you're cheering from the sidelines.
100%.
You're a guest on a podcast.
You're a guest on a podcast. The host
honestly,
needs to make
that's
you
like
feel
kind of equal.
It is equal
because it's like you being asked to put someone out on the internet on the world. You gotta be. I think the onus is on the host to make the guest look good,
and the guest has to bring something.
Play ball.
Play ball.
They got to be willing to play ball.
This is probably in the same territory, but your friends want to invite you out. Your friend wants to invite you out with their friends to have a night out on the town.
Yeah.
Who is it on?
I think it's mostly actually on the guy who invited you out, because like they're inviting you into a big space. It's for them. It depends on the event, but it's like, we're having a night out on the town for my birthday. Like, come. You don't know anybody, but you got to make them feel like they're part of the group.
Yeah.
But again, as the guest, you got to be like, okay, I know what I'm getting into. I'm coming along for the ride. I think of it as there's a space on the roller coaster. You're locking in. You may have one person sharing that little cart with you. So you find that person, you lock in with them, and you go for the ride.
You have a good time.
Someone says we're getting an Uber to go to the next place. You're jumping in that Uber.
Jumping in.
But you're not the one who's like determining where you go next.
No, that'd be wild.
Yeah. Hey, we're all going to the next place.
No, we're going karaoke.
We're going karaokeing. Yeah. Guests in. We talked about guests. Well, is that a whelp?
I think that's a whelp.
We talked about guests being a good guest. I think like we learned a few things. I think like I think the adage is, when you're being invited as a guest, treat it like you're going to a museum
or
and a national park.
And a national park.
And a national park at the same time. Leave no trace, touch nothing.
That's good.
Yeah. I'm Terry.
I'm Jed.
And this was another episode of Why Human Do.